and then you've been in Overstock now for since 2000, early 2000s, I guess, or how long?
1999.
Oh, 99. Okay.
October 99. We just did my 19th anniversary.
Wow.
Ouch.
Congratulations. Well, it's become because you took this company public.
Yeah.
Now you're sort of, I'd say, a financial activist. Is one of the things. That's why I say when you look at money as gunpowder, literally when you see things that you think are wrong, you kind of use your resources, your capital resources, to try to right them. So you had an unusual IPO.
Well, yes, we did. We did with the first Dutch auction IPO. And the truth is the IPO game for investment banks is a bit of a racket as it's conventionally run. And there's a way that and whenever you hear about those IPOs that, oh my gosh, it IPO'd today and then it doubled, and well, that's a racket. And I won't go into it unless you want, but they do that on purpose. And it's basically, there's a general principle in life that when someone's in a position to allocate guaranteed profit, they get kickbacks.
Right.
You could be talking about some customs official in Paraguay, or you can be talking about a white shoe Wall Street banker. But when they're in a position to allocate guaranteed profit, they get a kickback. And the way it's done through banks is through the allocation desk. Anyway, that's the problem in the conventional system. There's an alternative called a Dutch auction. Mm-hmm. We did the Dutch auction, and I was told you'll be a pariah for life on Wall Street if you do this. But we did it as a Dutch auction, and they were right. I think that if I ever write an autobiography, should be the title, Pariah for Life on Wall Street. Anyway.
Well, it's interesting because, people normally have to suck up or kiss up to Wall Street if they want to do an IPO, and it is sort of a racket. And here you were saying, I'm going to go do one, and I'm going to buck the system, knowing that there'd be consequences. So what is the fundamental nature that you have that causes you to buck that system, knowing that it's going to be a tough battle?
Well, it's kind of unthinkable not to.
Yeah.
Kind of unthinkable not to. If you were walking down the street and saw up an alley, old ladies getting robbed, mm-hmm. It would be, you have to do something.
Right.
That is only call the police. But you have to do something about it. It was, as I sort of came to understand how some of these things worked, it certainly was my obligation not to take part in it. Right. That's how I felt. Right. It was certainly my obligation not to take part. And then when I got into that later fight with Wall Street, you may have heard about
yes.
I thought the system was going to collapse. I thought so I kind of set myself, so I jumped ahead.
What's interesting though is that once you did this unusual version of an IPO that pissed off Wall Street literally, and mm-hmm. Made people enemies of yours that were in areas of influence, you gave permission really for other companies to do this. Didn't Google also do
They were the second.
They were the second after you. So maybe, I can't say because I wasn't in their boardrooms, but if you didn't do it, they might not have had the courage to do it. So you kind of led the way on this.
Well, that's generous of you to say, but we'll let Larry and Sergey speak to that.
Okay, that's yes.
I did go out and defend during the Google IPO. They were not allowed to speak. If you remember, there was this little rollback because of a Playboy interview. Do you remember about this?
Yes, I do.
So no one was allowed to speak, and so I went on the road, and actually somebody whispered in my ear, neither of them, but somebody else whispered in my ear that for me to go get public and defend why Google was doing the Dutch auction IPO. So I went out and did that, which also drew a lot of flack for me in life.
So what was your upbringing? I mean, what did you have as a role model in the way of your father, and like what was growing up in your household like, and then how did what was his business activities?
Well, most people go through life, a boss told me once, Patrick, most people go through life hoping to win the lottery once. Mm-hmm. And you won the lottery twice the day you were born, and your father and your mother, mm-hmm. and the bigger one in your mother. My family lived the Horatio Alger dream. They were from poor stock, Irish, whatever, from New Jersey. Father was the first to go to college, was Air Force ROTC out of Rutgers, and he went on and became an actuary. Worked in the field of insurance until he sort of got a lucky break and was, anyway, so that was him. Also, my mom, who's also in Cape May, New Jersey, as my boss told me, he said, you won the Connecticut State Lottery in your dad, but the Irish sweepstakes in your mom. But then I won the lottery a third time, which is when I was 13. My pop went to work. My father got passed over for a job. He worked really hard. He worked so hard as kids. I would remember being kind of shocked to find out other children saw their dad. I never saw my dad other than like once a week for dinner for something. He just worked so insanely hard. But he was in an industry, the insurance industry, that was centered in Hartford, which was really an old boy and very waspy kind of place. And he felt that he got passed over for a promotion because he was Catholic. And he quit. He was so angry. He quit, and he got a job taking a broken auto insurance business through bankruptcy. And so we moved down to Maryland and on no notice. And so his job became to take this broken auto insurance company whose stock had fallen from 60 to $1 through bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. He'd been there a couple weeks, and he realized, hey, there was a way to save it. And there were 10,000 people, and he cut 7,000, and he got rid of 20% of his business, and he did all these very dramatic things, and he saved this company. And the company was called Geico.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so he was just this actuary from the life insurance field who quit a job because he hadn't been promoted as he thought he deserved. And he took a job in an auto insurance company. It was a very strange path. He had no background in the auto insurance. But anyway, he's fixed this company. And most importantly, about a month later, he got this phone call that some guy in Nebraska wanted to meet him. And this guy came, and he started staying with us. And I literally thought he was a farmer from Nebraska, but he was a stockbroker or something, because he also talked about stocks, but he really talked about business. And he had all these, I was 13 years old, and he would teach me about, if you imagine if an acre grows 440 bushels of corn, and the cost of the acre is this, and you're paying 6% interest, and just these problems to show me how things work. And taught me a lot of other things. Anyway, his name is Warren Buffett. Mm-hmm. And so he was a great Dutch uncle to me growing up. And that was my third time winning the lottery.
So this is interesting that, because it goes to the nature maybe of Warren Buffett too, that here's a 13-year-old kid, but he bothered to sit and kind of discuss business logic with him to have him understand, the way to think about things. So as compared to saying, 13-year-old kid's in my way over here, he actually invested some time in you.
Yeah, he sure did. And it's really amazing looking back that he did. And it wasn't Buffett, the legend. His name, I don't think had ever been in the paper. He was just this wonderful, I think he was about 48. I would get word ahead of time, and my parents would stock up on Pepsi, and I got to plan on skipping school, which nothing in my life ever let me, did I get to skip school for, but they would let me skip to hang out with him. And he would schedule some 2-hour block of time. Tell Patrick I'm going to be free, and I'll be, and so we would spend 2 hours talking, and it was a wonderful, and he'd have me write him letters as I reached different crossroads in life and different big decisions. Yeah. And I would write, he would want me to write him a long letter. His theory was that if a man goes into a room with a chimpanzee and explains himself, he comes out smarter. So the act of writing the letter and explaining my choice, usually by the end of writing the letter, you have the answer. But he was so he's just been, I call him my rabbi, frankly. He's my rabbi. Like when he leaves a message, he'll leave, tell Patrick his rabbi called. He's funny.
That's great.